Hello, fellow AI art enthusiasts. My name is Thane, and this video is about the Midjourney SREF styles that give your images a nice unique photography look. I combed through over 2,600 styles and picked out 50 styles that just on their own looked like they were quite photographic. The criteria for choosing these styles was that the initial look with a period symbol prompt looked like the images came out just like photographs. They do alter in the colors, the lighting and the overall look and feel. So, if you are looking for something unique, but still photographic, you may find some styles to try out in this selection. I was kind of surprised at how rare these kind of styles were among the SREF codes that I looked through. But, I have been going in numerical order instead of just randomly, so there may be a concentration of them somewhere among the over 4 billion styles. So, you will see 5 prompts for each of the styles. First, I have prompted each style with its invented name. And then comes the actual comparison in portrait aspect ratio. I have selected 4 prompts to test each of the styles out with. This time, I chose prompts that are slightly longer than just a single word I normally use. The prompts I selected were Woman with Antlers, Photo of an Old Man, Raven with Glowing Eyes and Aurora Borealis. Let's briefly go over why I made this selection this time. As usual, I wanted to include a wide variety of subjects, but I wanted to keep it closer to photography. If you were to choose something very out of the box and unconventional, even these styles may skew away from their default photography look. But I wanted to add some subtle odd things. So that's how the Woman with Antlers prompt came about. It's seemingly ordinary, but the antlers make it kind of weird without going too over the top with the weirdness. The second prompt comes back to reality, and it's just photo of an old man. With photography, I have found that it's sometimes better to include the words photo of to make it really stick to photography style. You can make almost any style look more photographic with this word combination. Not all of them will translate, but I feel like this selection doesn't even necessarily need this addition to make it look more photographic. The third prompt was the Raven with Glowing Eyes. It just felt more cool with the glowing eyes part. I'm not sure if this turned out too well, but let's see. And the fourth prompt was the Environment prompt, but one that usually makes the images look quite photographic. And it has some nice Nordic landscapes usually. I think the dataset that Midjourney has been trained on has just a lot of photos about the northern lights, and probably not too many drawings or paintings of this subject. So the images normally turn out almost exclusively photographic, without explicitly saying it should be a photograph. Before we take a look at the styles, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my patrons who really make a difference. So if you would like to come and support me, I would really appreciate it. And as a bonus, you do get all my videos a day early, ad-free, and on top of that, I post all the images and their corresponding prompts in a prompt PDF format over on my Patreon. So thank you again, and let's now get to the styles. 1. Retrofuturistic Pastoral Harmony. The style name features an unexpected period symbol, but otherwise, this has a kind of a faded, but warm look to it. Without specifying the word photo of, I feel like it can look slightly more towards an illustration. 142. Dark Enigmatic Watercolors. This looks more artsy and weird. Again, quite vintage looking. It seems to favor a kind of a burgundy red tint. And I don't really like the Aurora images. It can at times look slightly like a watercolor as well. 148. Surreal Victorian Dreamscape. This looks very photographic, but it's kind of an artsy photography, with pastel color tones. The northern lights have not really turned out as expected though. But people look great with this style. 298. Monochrome Silhouette Reflections. Obviously this looks like modern black and white photography. It too has an artsy feel to it, with some hints of multiple exposure. People look the best with this style based on what we have seen so far. 410. Monochrome Blue Dramatic. Another dark-looking style, but it has a dark blue tint to it. It seems to be quite minimalistic, mostly just the subject against a relatively empty background. 546. Fantastical Blossom Sanctuary. Well, this style obviously wants to add in lots of cute floral motifs, and the people seem to turn out quite Asian-looking. The ravens don't really look photographic. 689. Pastel Romantic Realism. This style seems to be quite bright. The viewpoint seems to quite low down, often on street level. Seems to favor white with some dashes of green and red. 768. Red and Blue Fashion Cinematic. This looks a lot like fashion photography. The style seems really exaggerated with bold colors. It looks real and fake at the same time. 868. Retro Grunge Glam. This style actually looks more modern, but with a slight hint of retro. The people and one of the raven look like they are at a fashion photo shoot. And the aurora looks great as well. 1092. Vibrant Enchanted Romance. Almost like photography. I get more of a cinematic feel from this. Or even computer graphics feel. It's still pretty close to realism, there's just a slight fakeness to it. 1118. Dusky Enchanted Castles. I really like this one. It is definitely photographic in every situation. Lots of late autumn nature and a definite Nordic or Druidic feel, with a strong HDR look. 1127. Icy Regal Dreamscape. This one really may need the added photo of in the prompt. It looks quite close, but I get a slight illustration feel with some of the images. The colors are quite icy indeed. 1152. Black and White Contemporary. I get a phone camera feel from these images, with a black and white filter. There is a slight green tint to it. 1172. Blazing Introspective Vision. Yet another style that is something in between computer graphics and photography. There's a slight fakeness to the images, even for the old man photos. I think the aurora images may look the most like photography. 1206. Mint Dreamlike Photography. A very weird one. Really like art photography with a strange and unusual color combination. The aurora images don't look that good, but the people ones have turned out awesomely weird. 1369. Atmospheric Digital Illustration, Surreal. The anthropomorphic ravens look so cool. This looks like photography, but it's again artsy and kind of sci-fi inspired. The sunglasses have nice weird designs too. 1399. Pastel Photography Soft Romantic. Another style that looks quite photographic, but it may need some photography-related words in the prompt. Otherwise, it slightly looks like an illustration. The colors are mostly pink and other pastel tones. 1452. Yellow Dynamic Mixed-Media Expressive. The photography style comes best across with the people, I think. Doesn't go well with landscapes. Looks photographic enough if you like yellow paint smeared all over people's faces. 1456. Scarlet Modern Mixed-Media. Again, a style that is interesting and artistic. People look better than animals or landscapes. I guess that's where the mixed media comes into this. And one guy still has 6 fingers. 1468. Sepia Candid Photography. This style looks really photographic. It has a nice color filter. Landscapes seem more like illustrations though for some reason. 1496. Naturalistic Orange Landscape Photography. The composition of the images looks strange at times. I do like how weird the women with antlers look with this style. Ravens are a bit boring and aurora images look fantastic. 1508. Sepia-Dream Surrealism. There is some close proximity or confrontational portraiture going on in some of the images. There is a sepia tint to it. It looks just slightly vintage. 1523. Ethereal Forest Realism. This style features intimate cinematic portraiture with glowing backlights, soft tones, and a touch of ethereal naturalism. 1743. Urban Speed Surrealism. High contrast, dramatic lighting with bold blue and red tones. Sleek, futuristic, and intensely cinematic. 1809. Golden Yellow Floral Whimsy. This style feels cozy and nostalgic with its strong yellow and green tones. There's a whimsical, slightly vintage charm to it. The Aurora images look nice, but they don't really depict northern lights in my opinion. 1846. Dark Sepia Dreamlike Photography. Strikingly cinematic, with bold red accents against muted monochrome tones. It leans vintage but has a modern, dramatic edge. The auroras and ravens look fine, but the portraits stand out the most. 1871. Pink Rococo Fantasy Couture. Very decorative, with intricate details, and lots of floral and lace elements. The pink tones dominate, giving it a romantic and whimsical feel. The ravens look unusually dressed up. The auroras don't quite match the vibe though. 1917. Ethereal Asian-Inspired Photography. This style has a soft, cinematic feel with delicate floral and natural accents. The muted tones and Japanese-inspired elements make it feel serene and nostalgic. 1950. Ivory Lace Digital Elegance. Almost photographic but leans slightly towards an illustrative feel. The soft pastel tones and intricate details create a dreamy, wintry atmosphere. The people stand out with their elegant, frosted aesthetic. 1963. Nostalgic Solitude Vintage Photography. This feels like authentic vintage photography, with its muted tones and textured finish. The portraits especially look photographic, evoking a haunting folk horror vibe. The ravens, however, lean more towards illustration. 2015. Soft Focus. Dreamlike Photography. Clean and simple, this definitely looks like photography. The soft pastel backgrounds and glowing light give it a modern, editorial feel. 2210. Burnt Orange Vector Style. The portraits look photographic with sharp details and dramatic lighting, but the bold reds and teals give it a surreal, cinematic vibe. The ravens and landscapes lean more into stylized art. 2212. Sunset Glow Surrealism. This looks photographic, but with a heavy artistic overlay of glowing bokeh and warm, dreamy colors. The portraits are soft and natural, but the lighting effects make them feel almost surreal. 2258. Rustic Cinematic Matte. Definitely looks like vintage photography, with warm, grainy textures and earthy tones. The portraits have a natural, timeless feel, while the ravens and auroras add a moody, atmospheric touch. 2302. Minimalist Filtered Realism. Modern photography with sharp details and vibrant colors. The older men's portraits stand out for their realism, while the women's full-face masks feel unsettling. The ravens have a digital quality, and the auroras add a surreal polished glow. 2421. Azure Ethereal Fusion. Dark and moody, the portraits look photographic but heavily processed, with dramatic blue tones and textures. The landscapes and ravens appear dreamlike, blending into a surreal, frozen atmosphere. The overall style has a strong cinematic energy. 2422. Nostalgic Homestead Scene. The portraits look photographic, with soft lighting and vibrant colors, giving a vintage, yet whimsical vibe. The clothing and props add a quirky, retro charm. The ravens and auroras look more like stylized illustrations. 2438. Nocturnal Blue Elegance. Highly photographic with dramatic lighting and deep blue tones creating a striking contrast. The portraits are sharp and regal. The people tend to look Asian with this style. 2445. Dusky Gothic Romance. A highly photographic style with a distinctly vintage aesthetic. The intricate details in the textures and soft, muted color palette emphasize a romantic and antique vibe. The people and settings exude a timeless charm, while the ravens look less natural. 2502. Desert Pink Photoglow. An eye-catching and vibrant style with striking contrasts and bold neon tones. The people and ravens come across as photographic, yet there's a surreal, almost hyper-stylized energy. The pinks and reds dominate, creating a dynamic retro aesthetic that feels electric and surreal. 2504. Aqua Veil Reflection. This style leans heavily into photography with its sharp focus and hyper-realistic textures. Faces are detailed, with perfect lighting. The ravens maintain a polished, cinematic look. Landscapes feel almost too pristine. 2506. Citrus Pop Collage. The sharp contrasts and minimalistic backdrops give this style a very contemporary fashion photography feel. Bold orange tones paired with cool teal backgrounds create a striking visual balance. Aurora images have an added geometric touch to them. 2521. Rustic Glaze Atmosphere. Lighting appears soft, with muted colors adding a vintage warmth. Portraits feel intimate, almost like fleeting moments on film. There seems to be an emphasis on light pink color. 2523. Ivory Decay, Elegance. Intricate details and soft tones give these images a dreamy, elegant feel. The clothing sparkles with surreal textures. The Aurora images don't really look like one would expect. 2594. Butterfly Light, Soft Focus. This looks pretty close to photography, but it has a slight fake feel to it. Especially the Aurora images don't look real at all. Otherwise it has nice and soft muted tones. 2616. Neon Couture Fusion. Bold neon tones dominate this style, giving it a hyper-stylized, fashion-forward vibe. Portraits look sharp and photographic, but lean into surrealism with exaggerated colors. Aurora images feel more like digital art than natural scenes. 2642. Ethereal Soft Focus Narrative. This has a cinematic, raw edge. Portraits look intensely realistic, capturing gritty expressions and dramatic lighting. Northern lights have a soft focus, creating a dreamy contrast to the sharpness of other elements. 2682. Autumn Enchantment Glow. Rich autumnal tones give this style a warm, nostalgic atmosphere. Portraits look like classic photography with a painterly softness, capturing texture and light in a natural way. 2684. Celestial Glow Chiaroscuro. This style leans heavily into cinematic photography, with deep blues and glowing lights creating a cold, mysterious atmosphere. Portraits are sharp and dramatic, with a strong emphasis on textures and shadows. 2689. Verdant Pathway Harmony. Warm tones dominate, giving the portraits a natural, almost candid quality. The lighting enhances textures and expressions, creating a sense of intimacy. Backgrounds are vibrant but slightly blurred, keeping focus on the subjects. All right, those were the photography styles I selected from the ones I came across. To be honest, I was surprised that these were this hard to come by. The people images came out the best overall in my opinion. I didn't particularly like the raven images, although I had hopes that they would look very cool. But next time I will choose something else entirely. There was a really wide variety of all kinds of different looking aesthetics, so I hope you found some that you would like to try out yourself. I thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this style exploration and subscribe if you are not yet subscribed for more videos like this. Let's continue prompting.